So it is right at the top of the hour. I don't want to waste anyone's time. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to go through the presentation. Like I said, at the end, I'll have a Q&A, as well as I've got a special presentation or a special offer for those of you that show up tonight. So let's go ahead and let's see if I can do this with the presentation. Welcome to tonight's training on the Lock It Down on my Lock It Down legal protection system. This is a system that I developed where we're helping course creators like you to transform your course into a real legally legit business that is set up for long-term success. So right now, there are a ton of course creators, and you might be one of them, and you've either given up on legally protecting your business, or you're just simply stuck and not sure what you should do from a legal standpoint. Or, and this could be the worst of anything, you're selling a course, but you have absolutely no legal protections in place at all, leaving your personal and your business assets exposed to legal liability or even theft. I was just in a Facebook group today, and for a course that I'm in, and I left a comment because someone was showing kind of the results and what they were doing with the course. And I went to their landing page, and they did not have the right legal documents. And so the lawyer me immediately goes to that and sees that. And I don't want people to be exposed. So that's what we're going to share with you tonight. So if any of this sounds like you, then this training tonight is going to be extremely powerful for you, because you may be trapped in what I call the worried entrepreneur cycle, where you're always worried, you're always stressed, you're overwhelmed, you're busy, and barely able to get by. There are no protections, guidance, accountability, or legal systems in your business, leaving you constantly worried about when the next proverbial shoe will drop, hence the name Worried Entrepreneur. But today's training is going to unlock a new identity for you, and you'll have the chance to become what I call a legally legit CEO, where your course is insulated from all potential legal liabilities and pitfalls. And most importantly, you'll move away from the stress and worry you're currently feeling and more move towards impact, because you can stop worrying about doing something illegal and focus more of your time and efforts on not only serving your clients and customers, but also growing and scaling your business. And look, I can sit here and tell you that we've had students who were in a similar spot as you go from zero legal protections in place to feeling more confident and secure in their business. But I'd rather just show you a couple testimonials from some students that we've had that have been through the course, such as William, who talked about learning some foundational principles was so helpful. He's already started using the contracts, so when he pays the designer, he knows that he owns the creative rights to the materials. Or Jared, who said that the course gave him the tools and forms he needed to completely understand what he had to have in order to be completely legal when starting his LLC and setting up his website. So before we get started, let's make sure that today's webinar will be the exact thing that you need in order to start the process of legally protecting your online business. So you're in the right place if number one, you're really struggling to manage the legal aspects of your business consistently. So you've never started a business before, and to be honest, the thought of getting your legal protections in place scares the you know what out of you. You've only made a handful of sales, or maybe no sales at all, and you're starting to question whether you have what it really takes to make a full-time income from selling your course. Or perhaps you do have a course and you've got some legal protections in place, and you feel like you've probably done it correctly, but you also know that you must be missing something because you haven't consulted a lawyer, and honestly, you've never done this before. You've got all your legal information pretty much from Google and from YouTube. Or maybe you've successfully launched your course and now you're getting a little nervous. You haven't taken any steps to protect your intellectual property, and you're probably paying more than your fair share in taxes. You aren't sure what to do next other than pestering your friends and online business groups for free legal advice, which you really don't want to do. Or you've been steadily launching and growing your business and are sick and tired of not knowing what you don't know. You go to bed every night sick to your stomach that you've messed something up from a legal perspective and you aren't sure what to do next. If any of that sounds familiar to you, then you're in the right place tonight. In this masterclass tonight, I'm going to be sharing with you some new information about how you can legally protect your online business with some proven systems that I've developed, which means that we may be talking about some things that you haven't heard before. Sometimes what I say might sound a little weird or counterintuitive, but that's exactly why it works. It's different. Now, one of the reasons that most course creators fail is because they lack focus. If you can't sit still for 60 minutes that it takes to attend this masterclass today, then I have serious concerns about your ability to grow your business, and you should too. So I'm not saying that to be mean, but I'm not here to sugarcoat what you already know to be the truth. And if you're here right now, then you already know that. And you also know that your business does not have sufficient legal protections in place, and that is a major problem. This masterclass can help you, but not if you have a million tabs open on your computer and you keep flipping back and forth on your phone and your Instagram and things like that. I want the best for you, just like you want the best for all of your students and your clients. And you deserve to give yourself 60 minutes to learn how you can start the process of getting some legal protections in place for your business. And if you can do that, then I have a special bonus, as I said before, waiting for those of you who stay until the very end. Now, I currently charge $299 for a 30-minute legal strategy session. People come away from these meetings with a clear understanding of where the legal holes are in their business and what they need to do next to move their business forward. And if you stay until the end today, I'm going to show you how you can schedule a one-to-one meeting with me absolutely free. Now, if you're someone who actually wants to see positive change in your business, then watch this masterclass on your laptop or desktop and close out all those additional apps and social media and things like that right now. And as you're doing that, I want you to take a minute to make sure that you understand who this webinar is also not for. If you're someone who thinks one day what you're doing now will give you the break you want and you're not willing to change, then this is not for you tonight. You probably will need to change what you're doing, especially if you want to see different results from what you're getting out of your business. Now, if you're someone who's on this webinar thinking that it's my job to convince you this works, then this is also probably not for you. Honestly, if you think it's my job as a lawyer to convince you of something, then just close this webinar right now and leave right now, because you're going to be very disappointed. That is certainly not my job. My job is to show up, serve you to the best of my ability, and give you the real actual steps to legally protecting your course so that you can turn it into a real sustainable and legally legitimate business. So if you're someone who loves searching on the internet and you know who I'm talking about for answers to your legal questions so that you can save a few bucks, then this is not going to be for you either. Listen, I get it. And saving some money by finding the answer to a complicated legal question on some online forum is great. But you know what else is great? Building a business that you know for certain is legally protected and not having to look over your shoulders, wondering if you did things the right way. When you stop worrying about the legal stuff, you can focus on building an amazing business that makes more money and has a bigger impact because you have more free time to spend with your new students and your new clients. And lastly, if you're someone who whines, moans, and complains when someone gives you 60 minutes of their best training and then gives you an opportunity to work with them on a deeper level at the end, then this is definitely not for you. Listen, I've been a lawyer for 17 years, and it would be literally impossible for me to take 17 years of that knowledge and give it all to you in one 60-minute presentation. But what I am going to do tonight is break down my Lock It Down legal protection system for you and then dive very deep into how to legally protect your online course in a way that you're left with my number one strategy that you can implement and see results with. And then, if you feel like you need more help and guidance, I'm going to give you an opportunity to access all of the legal templates, information, and frameworks you will need for your business, all while having me in your back pocket for coaching and guidance. So if that's okay with you, then let's go ahead and start the training. I want to start in the beginning so that you understand why this is so important. If you're here, then you're probably someone who started their business to create a better life with both financial and time freedom in mind. I know that's why I started my business. And it all started for me when I was sitting in court for an event called Calendar Call about 5 or 6 years ago. So do you remember this might date me a little bit, this picture, but do you remember back in high school when your teacher called the roll every day to see who was present? Yeah, it's kind of like that, but with a lot more at stake. And I apologize, I had to move something around my feet here. So with lawyers, you aren't just saying present when you go to calendar call. You must announce yourself to the court and then give a brief summary of why your case should or shouldn't be heard that day. And now, after listening to all the attorneys for about an hour, a judge will take a brief recess and come back in like 45 minutes and tell everyone whether or not their case will be heard, and if so, at what time. As you can imagine, this process is extremely stressful and expensive for everyone involved. It's a process that's fraught with waste. We're talking 20 to 30 lawyers billing $200 to $400 an hour each, sitting around in a courtroom for an hour, probably close to two, doing basically nothing. Calendar calls happen every day at the courthouse in my county and throughout the state of North Carolina, and it is exactly what it sounds like. So, back when calendar calls were handled in person, I remember sitting there and looking around the room trying to calculate how much lawyer time was being wasted sitting at calendar call that day. And aside from that sheer financial waste on the part of the lawyers, there was also the time that I was wasting by not being able to serve my other clients, spend time with my family, or just stressing myself out, wondering whether my case would get reached that day. And if so, when. I mean, this is like you weren't just stressed that day, you're stressed the night before and the night before that, trying to figure out, if cases are going to settle and what's going to happen. There were so many other things that I wanted to be able to do with my time that I couldn't when I had to waste time preparing for and attending a calendar call. And that's when I realized that there had to be a better way for me to practice law. So if going to calendar call was required for me to serve my clients, I wanted out, and I wanted out fast. So in that moment, I felt prepared to walk away from everything I've been doing. And then I met someone, another lawyer, who sold a $199 a month digital subscription product to help people handle their own divorce. And she was helping hundreds of clients a month without trading her time for money. And not only that, but her customers were getting extremely valuable legal services at the fraction of the cost of hiring an expensive law firm. My mind was blown, honestly. How is this even possible? She pulled open her cell phone and showed me exactly how it worked. And then it clicked. I found my new way to build a legal services business for online entrepreneurs, one that allowed me to stop billing for my time, spend more time with my family, and start building a business in a sustainable way. So if she could do this, then I could do this. So I developed a plan and I got to work. And by the end of the first 12 months, I had put nearly 300 online entrepreneurs through my first legal course. And most importantly, I was back to living in alignment with my core values. Now, we sell two primary legal products here at Hawthorn Law. Both are DIY services. And from those two products, we're able to help hundreds of online entrepreneurs each year get their businesses legally protected. I put my blood, sweat, and tears into building this method so that you don't have to. And that process is now called the Lock It Down Legal Protection System, where we have four primary pillars all working together, but they only work together because each one plays off the other. When most people try to legally protect their online business or their course, they usually have one, two, or maybe even three of these elements working together. But I'm here to tell you it takes all four to truly hit the groove where your business has total legal protection. So, what my system focuses on is developing a solid legal foundation, protecting your online presence, getting your contracts in order, and keeping your intellectual property safe. So, we can ensure your online business is legally protected by focusing on building a solid legal foundation for you and getting your online presence under control. And then you can thrive and stand out in the marketplace by protecting your contractual relationships and keeping your intellectual property safe. Without these all working together, you will likely be working way too much or have inconsistent legal protections in place or find yourself searching for answers with little to no results or else feel trapped and stressed by your business. Now, although these are all required to lock down, as I would say, your business, I know you may just be at the point where you want to generate some sales first. And then once the sales are coming in, you want to focus on legally protecting your online business. And frankly, that's smart. So, what I want to do today is dive briefly into each pillar, including how to manage your online presence and protect your intellectual property so that you can get your website set up and start generating some sales. And then we're going to briefly cover your contractual relationships. But first, let's start with getting the proper legal foundation in place for your business. Now, legal foundation is defined as an underlying base or support created by solid legal principles. A worried entrepreneur, as I talked about before, has no legal foundation, has no legal protection, or any protection at all for that matter. So some of you might be able to relate to this picture. This is how most course creators run their business. And I can relate to this because I grew up in Ohio where we would have to deal with steps like this. And I've fallen down my fair share of steps like this. It's not fun. So if I were this guy, I'd be worried too. Now, this is not a great picture, but this is supposed to be an icy lake with cracks in it. Um, so raise your hand or leave a comment in the chat if you would like to walk across this lake. Not sure which step to take, worried that the wrong step will send you into an icy lake. Lots of effort trying to figure out where to walk, minimal results, maybe no results at all. But let's say someone did try to cross this lake, and let's also assume that they made it safely. Now, their resourcefulness has actually become a hindrance because it's taught them that they can walk across an icy lake and not fall in with all that effort. So this is the worried entrepreneur versus the legally legit CEO. Legally legit CEOs rely on a strong legal foundation to scale and build their business, not hope and a prayer. Everything is planned out and thought through, and nothing is left to chance. You have implemented a system that legally protects you're calm, collected, and rested as you have implemented a system that legally protects your online business. This is that system. You build a ramp or a bridge or something like that. You've put salt down on the planks so that there's no ice sitting. And even if there is ice, you've got handlebars that you can hold on, handrails, I guess, that you can hold on to as you walk across the decking. You have the proper legal structure in place. You know exactly which steps to take and when to take them. So that leads us to legally legit CEOs secret number one: systems planning versus linear planning. Legally legit CEOs practice what I call systems planning, not linear planning. Legally legit CEOs are more concerned with their overall legal strategy as opposed to individual legal tactics. I know this is true because I've helped numerous clients who have gotten themselves into legal trouble using that exact strategy, if you can even call it that. And they ended up in the middle of an icy lake, except that unlike this guy, who I think, because he cut this hole in the ice, probably planned this, but let's assume he didn't cut a hole. Let's assume he just fell in. If you can identify with falling into a lake like this, you're not alone. But I'm here to tell you, you can change. You can start to understand that legally jerry-rigging a business is not the way to build a solid legal foundation, and it's the fastest way to run headfirst into legal trouble. The reason why my Lock It Down system works is because it is what I call an end-to-end system. It doesn't cover one piece and then leave you hanging. It covers all the pieces of making sure that your online business is legally protected from top to bottom. They are all designed to fit together. If just one piece is removed, then the whole thing falls apart. It's kind of like a three-legged stool, right? You take one leg out and the whole stool falls over. You'll be able to control the entire legal process from the very first foundational steps to protecting your intellectual property because it is a system of interconnected parts that work together in unison. No more Googling, no more uncertainty, just a solid legal foundation. And here's some more testimonials from some of my other students that completed the course. Sankofa says, I'm impressed with how you hold the end user's hand in this step-by-step process. Before spending money to create a business. The checklists are concise and very informative and splendidly prepares an entrepreneur on what kind of business I want and what I wish to sell. Oliver wrote, the toolkit exceeded my expectations. The timing couldn't have been more perfect. The course was packed with premium content and delivered at a valuable price. And then William says, since I'm not a lawyer, I needed help establishing my business. This is the best value I've seen recently from a professional service provider. So, which leads us to the second leg of or pillar of the Lock It Down system, and that is protecting your online presence, which I define again as the collective existence of a company or individual that can be found on the web via an online search. Now, having a website or a blog is just one component of an online presence. Other components include social media profiles, landing pages, advertisements, reviews, and online directories. In order to keep your online presence protected, all of your web properties must be taken into account. So if you hate worrying about whether your website is protected, or if you have the proper legal disclaimers on your social media channels, then it's extremely important that you pay close attention to what I'm about to tell you. Like you, when I first started an online business 10 years ago, I was just worried about getting my website up and content generated as quickly as possible. I thought that by having lots of great content would satisfy the Google gods and get my website ranked quickly. And once I was ranking well, life would all of a sudden get a lot easier. I remember the first time I tried to place ads directing people to my law firm's website. I worked hard on the landing page. I created a great lead magnet and I had an amazing follow up sequence ready to go. And then I posted my first ad on Google and I couldn't wait to see how many leads this campaign would generate. But instead of a ringing phone, I heard crickets. Instead of emails from potential clients, I got an email from the legal department for Google AdSense. Evidently, I didn't have the right policies and terms on my website, and Google rejected my ad. And not just one of my ads, but all of my ads. They actually shut down my ad account. I've been running ads on AdWords for years, and I'd never had any issues. So, what was the problem now? I couldn't figure it out. And well, Google told me the problem, according to them, was that my landing page did not link to the proper legal contracts on my website and violated a number of federal laws. Honestly, I don't think I even had the proper legal contracts on my website. This is way back before I started learning about all these important contracts that you needed to have. And I was shocked, but honestly, like I said, I wasn't that surprised. The truth is that I was a lawyer and I should have known better. But at the same time, I was following the advice that was provided to me by most online marketers. And this is the very beginning of the web world. And I had no idea that my ad account could be turned off by failing to have the proper online contracts in place. So who knows how long my ad campaign had been shut off before I realized there was a problem. How many clients I could have missed out on or money wasted by not having the proper legal pages up on my website. My information and the material in my lead magnet could have helped any number of prospective clients, but it didn't. And that wasn't because of Google, but that was because of me. I knew that there had to be a better way to protect my online web properties and to make sure nothing like this ever happened to me again. One that didn't require me searching all over the web to try and figure out why Google shut down my ads and what I need to do to fix it. Which leads us to Legally Legit CEO's secret number 2, and that's intention versus chaos. Legally legit CEOs use checklists and systems to confirm that they are doing things correctly. They proactively act with intention rather than react in chaos to legal obstacles that come their way. If you're in this for the long haul and want to build a sustainable business that scales, then you must play the long game and you must approach legal in a systematic and intentional way. Now, I understand that it is easy to get by without systematizing your legal protections. You can purchase a legal template here or watch a YouTube video there, but these strategies do not work in the long term. Legally legit CEOs would rather learn how to cover all of their legal bases the right way when they are just starting out so that they can build a deeper connection with their clients and their customers. Legally legit CEOs are not interested in putting band-aids on their business every time a legal problem crops up. They are interested in a systematic process that makes sure their entire business is legally healthy, thus minimizing their risk and eliminating their worry. And that isn't possible if you're sacrificing legal intentionality for short-term wins. Now, you're going to be pleased to know that there is a new way to legally protect your online course, and it's fueled by intention. And this is an intention more powerful than any flimsy free legal templates or how-to videos that you can find online. In the Lock It Down method, we call this process intentional verification, and we apply it to every client we help to get their business legally protected. Now, let me explain. Have you ever been to an event and thought to yourself, this was so well thought out? It could be a wedding, could be, now this is back before the pandemic, of course, could be a wedding, could be maybe a a legal conference, or no, God, I'm so used to saying legal. It could be a conference of some sort that you had to go to in your industry, whatever it might be. You went to that event, like, man, this is good. And you've been to lots of events, but for whatever reason, this event is just really, really well planned out, really good. It's effortless. In fact, it seems like you always know where to go. You always know what's coming up next. No stone is left unturned. They give you a little map with a goodie bag. They've got something waiting for you in the hotel room to let you know that they're thinking about you. And it seems like everything has been thought through perfectly. And then you go to another conference and everything seems so chaotic. There's lots of good information, but you never seem to know where to go. You feel like you aren't learning anything. You feel like you're left behind, like they're not really caring about you because you're so distracted by the lack of planning on the part of the event organizers. And at the end of the event, you're asked to buy a ticket to the next conference, but you determine well in advance that there's going to be something else on your calendar, or you just tell them, I'm sorry, I'm not going to buy it. You just decline outright. Many people, have this preconceived notion that in order to legally protect their business, it is important to just do a lot of legal sounding things, such as forming an LLC or using free contracts that they find online. But if you do that, then you're no better than the organizers of that event that you couldn't wait to leave because the planning was so chaotic. When you try to duct tape your legal protections in place, it's painful. It's painful for you, and ultimately, it's painful for your prospective clients and your customers. There is an easier way to get your legal protections in place, one that minimizes friction and will actually set your business up for a bigger win and longer lasting long term success. So let's assume that you acted with a great deal of intention in the way that you planned out your legal strategy. You checked and double checked to make sure you had all the proper legal protections in place. But then you stopped. You failed to pay attention to legal deadlines. You never revisited your contracts to determine whether or not they were properly updated. Isn't it true that this lack of consistency would, over time, start to deteriorate the legal protections that you have worked so hard to put in place? And not only that, but wouldn't this start to seep into all the facets of your business, eventually exposing you as potentially unprofessional and lacking attention to detail with your customers, students, or clients? Well, let's just take a step back. What if you didn't actually do that? What if you were intentional about the legal aspects of your online business or course? What if you worked legal protections into your overall system so that it became part of your day to day process? You would have all the legal protections you needed without all of the overwhelm. It would portray your business as way more professional and way more established. The legal protections you created would actually make you stand out in your marketplace and actually attract customers towards you. They would be attracted to your professionalism and attention to detail, and as a result, would be even more excited to work with you. Oh, excuse me, car outside. And would be even more excited to work with you or learn about your unique methodology. I think that's a sign I need a little bit of water here. Customers would buy from you because of the legal protections that you put in place, not in spite of those legal protections. So, what we do here is we infuse intentional verification into every piece of the Lock It Down system. You'll use it everywhere, from setting up your legal foundation to protecting your online presence to managing your intellectual property. So, you're probably wondering, what is intentional verification? Well, it's a unique process that we created to ensure that all of your legal protections are taken care of, both automatically and regularly. You'll begin this process in the very first lesson, taking legal stock of your online business. You'll be led through a series of questions in the very first lesson that will help you to do two main things. First, discover what the biggest legal weaknesses are currently in your online business, and then determine what first steps you should take to start down the road to making sure your online business is completely and totally legally protected. There are actually 11 legal issues that we address in total inside that first lesson that you may have to deal with, but just the process of reviewing the legal status of your business on this high level will give you a great deal of clarity and help shape your vision for where you want your business to go. Now, once you have finished this first lesson, you will learn that the secret of maintaining total legal protection is to ensure intentional verification is implemented throughout your entire online business. from your legal foundation to your online presence to your contracts to your intellectual property. So just how effective is intentional verification? Well, I'll have a couple students that can tell you. Jared said, I had so many questions in regards to starting a business and just got done with the first week of the course and have learned so much. Most of the questions I had with starting a business and what entity I should use to set up have been answered. And then Karina says, the toolkit provided solid templates to protect my website, get ready for contracting, and so much more. But what turned out really invaluable for me were the group video calls. And she also says that what I don't like to make assumptions about, I just need to know with certainty that what I do is correct. Nope, going the wrong way. So she says, I got clarity on legal issues before I even knew that I should think about that topic. So now that you kind of understand the basics of what intentional verification is, I want to show you how it works in action with the next pillar of the lock it down system, and that is keeping your intellectual property safe. So intellectual property, the third pillar, is defined as property such as an idea, invention, or process that derives from the work of the mind or the intellect. If you struggle with understanding what intellectual property is or why it is important to keep protected, what I'm about to tell you is going to be extremely helpful. The secret to building a successful and valuable online business lies in making sure that all of your intellectual property is properly protected. You see, when you're building an online course, you're creating something out of nothing. You're creating a valuable asset that only previously existed in your mind. And what most course creators do is they create an amazing and valuable course, but they do nothing to protect it. And then they're constantly worried about whether someone will come along to try and copy what they have created. For many creators, it's this exact worry that keeps them from creating anything at all. Once again, the worried entrepreneur that I talked about at the beginning has reared its ugly head and held you back from becoming successful. When you're using the lock it down system and intentional verification in conjunction with building your online course, you'll be taking all of the proper steps to protect your intellectual property as you go. So, how do we do it? Well, how do we set our clients up for long term success by protecting their intellectual property in an intentional and systematic way, such that we can confidently say that no stone has been left unturned and that all intellectual property assets are 100% protected? Well, once again, it comes down to that intentional verification system that is present throughout the lock it down legal protection system. This is a completely unique way to ensure that each of our clients has identified all of their intellectual property, categorized it properly, conducted a cost benefit analysis of the respective assets, and then properly registered the assets that may require further protections. Intentional verification allows our students and our clients to systematically grow a portfolio of intellectual property assets that will create additional value for their online business over time. As your brand grows, so grows the value of your intellectual property. And these intellectual property assets can be bought, sold, licensed for a fee, or even used as collateral for a loan to further fuel your business. Many people don't know that. Which brings us to legally legit CEO secret number 3. Legally protecting your business requires less effort. Now, legally legit CEOs know that effort is a limited resource, and because of that, they need to detach themselves from effort. A lot of course creators identify as a hard worker, and the problem with that is they subconsciously go out of their way to make things hard. And real quick, I see some people leaving some comments. I see some people raising their hands. I am going to get to you and your questions in just a little bit. When we get to the end, we're almost at the end of the presentation. A lot of people are just afraid of things being too easy. They overcomplicate tasks to make things more difficult just so they can feel like they're working hard. Who can relate to that? I know I can, because that's how I was for many, many years. Legally protecting your business requires you to shift to a new identity, to be intentional about the process you follow to build and protect your business, not following every new idea and strategy as it comes along and getting nowhere. If you want to legally protect your business, you're going to need a system. And if you legally protecting your business depends solely on your effort and your research, then you are limiting your growth, you're limiting the impact you can have, and yes, you're limiting the amount of legal protections you will have in your business. Listen, everyone knows that if you use a proven system, you can replicate a desirable outcome. The problem is that most of the legal information out there is not tied to any particular process or holistic approach. And as a result, you find yourself running around all day trying to work on your business, create content, build systems from scratch, and then, if you have time, do your more research on how to keep your business legally protected. The problem you're faced with is that you're trying to reinvent the wheel to legally protect your online business. But because you have no legal training, you have no idea how to do that. Now, I used to be in the same boat as a young lawyer until I discovered a new approach to making sure that all of my clients were legally protected, and that approach required much less time and much less effort. If it's okay with you, I'd love to share that with you right now. In the Lock It Down system, our students are constantly working on the legal aspects of their online business. When they create a new piece of content, when they develop a new brand, when they hire a new contractor, when they launch a new course, or even a new business, they are legally protecting themselves every step of the way. We do this through a combination of established systems and legal templates. By incorporating our systems into your everyday workflows, we ensure that you put the proper legal protections in place at the appropriate time to do so. This means that whether you are bringing on a new team member or drafting a new blog post or creating a new brand, you will have a system and process to follow that will shift your beliefs about what is needed legally, help you determine what legal steps are necessary, and allow you to maintain absolute legal protections for your business. Legally legit CEOs play the long game. They aren't in this for the quick win. They want to build something real and something sustainable. Since our clients are building and growing their businesses on a daily basis, they naturally will have more legal needs and issues to deal with. Infusing these legal systems into your business is the key to maximizing your legal protections. So, have you ever tried to put together a bike or some other piece of complicated machinery without using the instructions? True story here. I have. The result was not pretty. It was last year. I bought a bike for my son, and I was so it came in a bike, and because of the pandemic, we couldn't go buy it from the store, so we ordered it. They shipped the whole bike to us, but I had to put it together. I was so nervous about letting my son ride that bike that I actually took it to a bike store to have them put it back together for me to make sure that it was safe to ride. So our established legal systems and processes, allow you, the course creator, to plug these protections directly into your existing processes in a way that seamlessly integrates legal protections into your day-to-day routines. Implementing the legal systems that we teach inside the Lock It Down system provides seamless legal protections for your entire business and much needed peace of mind for you. So, just how effective are our legal systems? Well, Maria says the downloadable forms were great for development of our privacy policy in terms of use. Also, your guidance helped us greatly in the establishment of our LLC, and I would like to recommend your course to others. This takes us to the fourth pillar of the Lock It Down system, and that's the contracts. A contract is defined as a legally enforceable or binding agreement between two or more persons or parties. Legally legit CEOs understand how to leverage their business with contracts so that they can avoid lost revenue, protect their intellectual property, and clarify their business relationships. Most course creators struggle with creating legally enforceable contracts if they ever create any contracts at all. I was actually on a group call with one of my students today, and he'd been doing work with somebody for the past year and a half, and they didn't have a contract back and forth. And he was kind of worried about what that would mean for him. Well, we talked about what he should do, but what happens with most online entrepreneurs is they expose themselves to chargebacks from their bank, they risk losing their intellectual property, and they fail to build sustainable and lasting streams of revenue in their business because they don't look at the contracts. Maybe you can relate to the feeling of complete hopelessness and frustration that comes when you receive a refund request from a customer months after they purchased, or a chargeback notice from your bank. And if you've been in business long enough, both of these things are going to happen at some point. Or even worse, you spend valuable time working on a client project only to get stiffed after sending them the invoice. If you want to avoid these issues in the future, you need to keep listening. Let's talk about contracts for a minute. As I mentioned before, a contract is a legally enforceable and binding agreement between two or more persons or parties. Typically, this means that you provide something of value to your customer or client, typically access to your online course or digital product that you poured months of your blood, sweat, and tears into, and they provide you with financial compensation in return. Inside the Lock It Down system, we provide a number of lawyer drafted contracts that you can use and easily customize to your unique situation using our proprietary document drafting software. We want you to leverage each contract you create to the maximum advantage, and you don't do that, or you can't do that if you're trying to cut and paste various clauses and paragraphs into a sloppy contract that doesn't accomplish what you originally intended. The thing I love the most about our document drafting system is that you can have a lawyer approved contract that is fully customized to your unique situation in as little as 5 to 10 minutes. And then, once you've finished drafting each contract, we want you to use it in the correct way to make sure all of your legal relationships are protected. Now, there are numerous types of contracts that you may need in your online business. Those are client contracts, contractor agreements, terms of sale, etc. And using the wrong contract in the wrong situation could actually hurt your legal protections. Since we drafted all of these contracts from scratch, we have this down to kind of a science. Everything is automated using our custom document drafting system, which I'm going to show you in a little bit, to ensure that all of your legal relationships are protected and safe. Now, once we add legally enforceable contracts to your arsenal, it just adds fuel to the fire. Enforceable contracts equals maximum protection. Which brings us to Legally Legit CEO's secret number 4, being ready as a choice, not a product of circumstance. It's an excuse to stay inside your comfort zone and put off doing something new. I can tell some people how a YouTuber tried to DIY his LLC and messed it up, immediately receiving a cease and desist letter that subjected them to potential personal liability. But they will make some excuse about why that won't happen to them. I can show some people how a blogger built a great brand only to have a large corporation rip it off and use it as their own, all while sending him a threatening letter to shut down his blog. True story. And they will still sit there and come up with an excuse about why that would never happen to them. I can show still more people how a small marketing company built an amazing business only to go out of business after learning that they had been using a name that was trademarked by another company. Again, true story. Legally legit CEOs know that when it comes to creating illegal protections in their business, waiting until they're ready is actually a trap. And they will still come up with even more excuses about why they don't need to worry about that. While some people argue that legal protections are a waste of money, legally legit CEOs lean into what is actually necessary. What do we need to do here? Fran Jeans wrote, reassurance that my site has got a solid privacy policy and terms of service in place. Crazy as it sounds, as a web designer, this hadn't been a high priority, but the course made me realize that all the fine print is not just for big corporations. And Brad said that the toolkit has given me the courage to move forward with my dream of having an online business. I'm now proceeding without fear. You have helped me understand first that those mistakes exist, and second, not how to make those mistakes. I'm also encouraging others to follow your channel and consider purchasing your toolbox. So once our students learn about setting up a strong legal foundation, they'll start to understand what is possible with their business. It's no secret that the most profitable and successful online business owners are the ones who take their legal protections seriously. They realize, even when they are just getting started, that legal protection should not be viewed as a cost, but rather they are an investment that will have a tremendous ROI during the life of your business. I always cringe when I see people falling into the trap of ignoring the legal side of their business because they quote unquote aren't ready. Every online business owner needs to take appropriate precautions to legally protect their online business. Writer and philosopher George Santayana famously said, "Those who do not learn history are doomed to repeat it." There are cases upon cases with real-life examples of what can happen to online businesses that fail to put proper legal protections in place. Like I said, the blogger whose trademark was stolen, the freelancer without a contract who lost thousands on a job they were never paid for, the creator whose course was pirated and sold by a competitor at a steep discount. the business sale that fell through because the brand name was never properly protected. Again, all these are true stories. Thousands upon thousands of dollars in lost revenue and countless hours of needless stress, all because proper legal protections were not used. Failure to put proper legal protections in place will cost your online business thousands and thousands of dollars. It's not a matter of if, but of when. If you have this idea in your head that you will save money by trying to manage your legal protections on your own, then you will definitely need to keep listening because, in my experience, actually the opposite has been true. Handling legal on your own without help is a surefire way to financial ruin. It's true. In fact, the biggest mistakes most course creators make is not investing in legal protections sooner. Like many of you listening today, many course creators are improperly told that legal is not important and that they can handle it on their own. They typically find this information in the private discussion forums or in Facebook groups from other uninformed and naive online entrepreneurs. Whenever I read a post that says that legal protections are a waste of money, I absolutely cringe. And it's not because I'm a lawyer and have seen firsthand what can happen to people that don't seek out legal advice right away. It's because I know that there are unsuspecting entrepreneurs out there who are not on this training tonight that will listen to this advice and follow it to their detriment. And some of those people will find out all too late just how bad that advice actually is. And that is yet another reason why I created my Lock It Down legal protection system. As a dad and an online entrepreneur, I had to prioritize. So many lawyers live and die by the billable hour. As a result, they have remained single. They've got no kids or family. They have absolutely no social life outside of working 80 hours a week to meet their billable hour requirements. Being a husband and a father who has time to spend with my family is incredibly important to me and has further strengthened my focus and my resolve to build a successful online business that doesn't require me billing 2,000 hours a year. It's led me to develop creative solutions for my clients, like the Lock It Down system, and not get caught up in what all the other lawyers are telling me to do. So, the traditional legal practice posed three problems for me. My income was entirely dependent on the amount of time I billed. This required me to work long, inefficient hours to hit my financial goals, which frustrated my clients. And the traditional law firm model wasn't particularly satisfying to me personally. You see, the traditional law firm business model is basically built around the notion that the most profitable law firms will be the most inefficient. The more time a lawyer spends on a given task, the more they can bill for that work. Any of you that have worked with a lawyer before knows that this is the case. This puts the interests of the client in direct conflict with the lawyer who is supposed to put the client's needs first. And I noticed that the satisfaction I felt from serving my clients gradually began to decrease as well. With technology and the systems I developed to serve my clients, I was actually losing money because my firm was growing more efficient, which means I didn't have to spend as much time on their cases. So I could read the writing on the wall, and I knew that hourly billing was actually killing my business. Every day, I worried about how I would pay the bills and earn enough money to support my family. I was stuck in the worried entrepreneur life, and I didn't even know it. If you're listening right now and have ever tried to work with a lawyer that bills by the hour, I totally see you. I finally realized that there was a better way to deliver legal services to my clients, and that was to sell my legal systems directly. Now, I realized that for this business model to work, there has to be a certain level of responsibility on the part of my customers. Purchasing a legal course or a legal template is not the same thing as hiring a lawyer. Ensuring that your online course is legally protected is dependent on two main things. Number one, your own personal limitations. Number two, how well you implement the system. So let's talk about how your personal limitations will affect your ability to implement your own legal protections. There are some people who are just not cut out to implement legal protections on their own without the help of a lawyer or someone else on their team that can assist in implementing the Lock It Down system. If you operate more on emotion and find that systems scare you, then you may find the Lock It Down system and maybe even building a business itself will be a difficult process to implement in the long term. You may be better off hiring a lawyer to handle all this for you or someone who can help you work through my system. But on the other hand, if you love rules and checklists and order, then the lock it down system will be exactly what you need to legally protect your online business and keep it that way. But the keeping it that way is the next major X factor because your ability to legally protect your online business is directly tied to your ability to implement the lock it down system and then continue to work that system over time. Legal protections are not something that you can put in place one time and then forget about. Every month, quarter, and year, you should have processes in place that remind you to go back and review all of the pillars of the system to make sure you're maintaining your legal protections. The lock it down system is going to help you manage these processes and work for you, even if your online business is just getting started. And that's because you'll be able to incorporate the systems and the processes, including our intentional verification system, into everything you do in your business. Over time, our processes will become second nature to you, and you won't even have to think about them anymore. One of the best things about having legal protections in place is that you can stop the cycle of worry that you're doing something wrong or that keeps you paralyzed from doing anything at all. And that's because when you put legal protections in place in your business and you follow up and you maintain those protections, they're going to keep your business protected no matter what you do or build in your business. Even better, you're not going to have to wait for a callback from a lawyer that's charging you $500 an hour. You will literally be building the legal protections directly into your business while you're building your business at the same time. Look, when everyone talks about putting legal protections in place, they automatically think, I need to form an LLC. That's why those videos are so popular on my YouTube channel. But what most failing entrepreneurs never realize is having adequate legal protections also means protecting your online presence. It also means protecting your intellectual property and drafting the appropriate contracts to lock down and protect all areas of your business. When you set up your first LLC and you do it properly, you're putting some legal protections in place that are going to help you. But this is only one small aspect of legally protecting your online business. And not only that, the process of putting an LLC in place is confusing and it's complicated. And if it's not done properly, you're going to lose all the protections you thought you had by forming the LLC in the first place. And forming your LLC triggers a whole laundry list of other things that must be done to make sure your business doesn't lose the protection of the corporate veil. Hopefully, it's clear to you by now that legally protecting your online business isn't just about LLCs. It's about consistently applying the entire lock it down methodology across your entire business. And failing to put the proper legal protections in place is just slowing down your growth. So, why are legal protections such a crucial component when it comes to building a successful business? Well, the obvious answer is that prospective clients and customers are going to take your business much more seriously when you have legal protections in place. But more importantly, what it really does is it shifts your thinking and gives you the mental mindset that your business is legitimate and worthy of the success that you are experiencing. Without even realizing it, the legal protections you put in place will start to strip down the imposter syndrome you may be feeling that is holding you back from true and lasting success. When building a business, you have one chance to make a first impression with your prospective clients and customers. It might be the trademark you created, or the contract you sent to a client, or the legal notices that are placed on your website. You don't really know. But when you don't have a trademark, or your client contract is sloppy and unclear, or you don't have any legal notices on your website, then people take notice, whether you like it or not, and may think twice about hiring you or purchasing your course. All that hard work and money you spent to get that customer, up in smoke. When you follow the lock it down method, all these things are removed as potential barriers for people to purchase your product or service. And because my methodology utilizes systems at every step of the process, everything is interconnected, which allows you to take back control of your business. The legal protections coupled with our systems empower you to have more control over your business if you're doing it correctly. Most course creators attempt to implement legal protections without a system, which of course leads to disastrous results. They feel defeated, they feel demoralized, thinking that maybe online entrepreneurship just won't work for them. But this isn't the case at all. You can legally protect your online business, but only if you're using all the components of the Lock It Down system at once. Establishing a solid legal foundation, protecting your online presence, developing rock solid contracts, and keeping your intellectual property safe. You can't legally protect your online business unless you're using all of these together. It's my belief that the best way to develop and scale a world-class program is to make sure you lock it down. When your online course is legally protected, you can focus your time on improving the course, serving your community, and put more energy into making your course the best course possible. Isn't that what we're all here to do? To develop a world-class program that serves your community and adds tremendous value to the world? Legally legit CEOs are not stressed about getting sued or having their intellectual property stolen because they have the proper legal protections in place, which enables them to build a team, worry less about their bills, and spend their time where it should be spent on being the true visionary of their company. If you take one thing away from this training tonight, I want you to know that with the right methodology and support, you can build a legitimate and sustainable business that is capable of providing consistent and scalable revenue month after month. You can be the legally legit CEO of your own online business. The Lock It Down system is a proven methodology that is responsible for helping hundreds of online entrepreneurs and course creators get their businesses legally protected for good, enjoying a life free from worry and stress while positively impacting the lives of their students along the way. So the big question is, how can you legally protect your online course and start enjoying the benefits that come with a lack of worry and stress? Now, if you're still watching, and I know some of you are, we both know you need help and are committed to getting out of the worried entrepreneur cycle. You're sick and tired of being stressed and worried and just want to follow a method that works. You're ready to take control of your online course business and to become a legally legit CEO. Legally legit CEOs rely on established systems to legally protect their online business, not trial and error. So, with your permission, this is that moment where I'd like to take a few more minutes to present you with the package that I have developed for you tonight. So, is that all right with you? I'm gonna take a quick break, take a sip of water, go back here, and let me just ask out here. I see we've got some questions, we've got some hands raised. We're gonna get to those, I promise. Let's see. I cannot. Oh, there we go. I've got one question. Can this be applied to a drop shipping company? Absolutely. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. Yes, who this will and won't work for. But I'm going to go ahead and ask. So just type below. Are you guys ready to hear the offer here? You guys still awake? Hopefully. Alan says, sure, of course. Oh. Yes, let's go. Okay, good. Teresa says, can this work for a photographer and music teacher? Yeah, we're going to talk about that. So let's see here. All right. So as many of you know, I don't know who found me from YouTube and who didn't, but I do have a YouTube channel. I've been blessed with 117,000 plus subscribers. And as my channel has grown, the demands on my time as a lawyer have far exceeded my capacity to deliver one-to-one client services. So I kind of already talked about the history of where this came from. Eric says, I found you on YouTube. So one choice was, I could continue to raise my legal fees, which honestly doesn't align with my core values, and turn away lots of entrepreneurs that couldn't afford to hire me. Or I could find a way to package my knowledge, templates, checklists, and information into a course that could help more entrepreneurs become legally legit CEOs. So let's take a step back here. Much like how you're feeling right now, when I was first getting started in online business and running my own law practice, I ran into a ton of roadblocks. I didn't know how to protect my online business. I already kind of talked about that at the beginning. I didn't know how to protect it from known or unforeseen risks. I didn't know where my legal weaknesses are. So I had to create a framework for myself. And It took me years to develop this lock it down system that we've talked about in today's presentation. Way back when I was just getting started with online business, I did a ton of research and I spent hours of my time figuring out how to legally protect my business. And I'm a lawyer. And as I've explained before and today, I was able to create a framework that I could use for myself. But I don't want you to recreate the wheel. I've already packaged all this together into the lock it down system. When you use my toolkit, not only are you going to save time and money I spent to develop it, but you're also going to save, oh, hitting the wrong button. But you're also going to save what could be months or years of your life because you will start your business off on the right foot from the very beginning. There's no trial and error period here. So let me take you through what you'll get when you sign up right now. So, what this program is going to help you do, it's going to help you look objectively at your business and determine where your legal weaknesses are. It's going to help you determine the best legal structure for your business, whether you've already formed an entity or not. It's going to help you identify and protect your intellectual property. It's going to help you to create the legal documents you need to keep your business compliant and safe. It's going to help you rid yourself of the fear that comes from not knowing whether you are handling your business the legal and the correct way. It's going to help you have access to the legal tools you need to answer your questions. And it's going to protect your business from unknown or unforeseen legal risks. And finally, it's going to help you to solidify your contractual relationships with your clients, your vendors, and your contractors. Now, again, I had two choices with this course. I could go as cheap as possible and try to sell as many of the toolkits as I possibly could. But the problem with that is that I couldn't really stack on the value for you. So I decided to go with the second option, which obviously requires a slightly higher investment on your side. But in exchange for that, I can dedicate more time, energy, and resources to help guarantee your success. Now, before we get into this, I want to talk a little bit about what your options are for legal services. So, and I want to ask you, if your online business was legally set up for total and complete success, how much is that worth? You could spend nothing. That is an option to many of you. You do nothing, and you might be fine. Honestly, you could hire a lawyer for around $3,000 to $5,000. You might get your LLC, maybe a custom contract, a little bit of advice here and there, but not much else. Or you could go to another DIY service and you could spend several $1,000s with a faceless corporation without knowing exactly what you're getting. Or you could wait until the proverbial shoe drops, which kind of goes back to the beginning, which is you spend nothing and you might be fine, or you might not be fine. So let's talk about the cost of doing nothing. What if you were unable to get paid after you did a job because you didn't have a contract? This happens every day. What if you live on the East Coast and someone sues you on the West Coast? What if you spend a considerable amount up front to hire a contractor who then defaults on your contract and runs away with your money? What if you receive a cease and desist letter from a competitor alleging that you stole their content? What if the FTC files a lawsuit or sends you a letter for violation of federal privacy laws? All these things happen every single day in business. Or what if someone rips off your blog or your brand name? And again, this happens quite a bit. It's funny. I look at a lot of websites in the course of my business, and I came across one today that, as I was looking at the code, it had a little line that said, "A lot of people have tried to rip me off. Don't be one of those people. We track everyone who tries to rip us off," or something like that. And then it said, "If you want more information, go to this website." And that was actually written within the code to try and deter people from stealing their content. Any single one of these legal events or of these events could cost you thousands of dollars in legal fees conservatively to get resolved. Or you can invest in a proven system now and greatly reduce the risk that any of these events would ever happen to you. So this way, when your business is starting to grow in the way that you've worked so hard for, things won't come to a grinding halt just because you find yourself in the middle of a chaotic and stressful legal challenge. Now, just a little bit of perspective here. Clients pay me $6,000 to $12,000 per year for the information that's contained in this course. And that's because I do it all for them. Like, they don't have to do it. They come to me, and then I create the contracts. I give them the advice. I tell them what to do, these type of things. But honestly, and this goes back to what I said before, a lot of people are not at the point in their business where they can afford to pay $6,000 to $12,000 for a lawyer. Nor would I personally feel comfortable taking your money if I couldn't provide you with at least a 10x return on that investment. At the same time, I don't want you to keep copying and pasting other people's contracts, putting off filing your LLC, or wasting your time confused about how or what intellectual property you should invest in protecting. And I definitely don't want you waiting until something bad happens with your business to reach out to me because you're in crisis. The best way I know to help you create a legitimate, secure, and protected online business is through my Lock It Down system that's only available to the members of my online business legal toolkit. So again, Maria, she runs an online marketplace, and she said that the downloadable forms were great for development of our privacy policy in terms of use. Also, your guidance helped us greatly in the establishment of our LLC. Our site is still under development, though. So I think the information in this course will continue to provide value over time, and I would like to recommend your course to others. Now, I'm about to show you how this toolkit is worth well over $11,000. But because you've attended this webinar training with me today, I'm going to also give you a very special offer. And I know what you're thinking. I'm not a lawyer. I can't do this on my own. I already kind of talked about this during a little bit before, but I've developed legal checklists, templates, and video trainings, and I put it all together in a way with interview-based technology to make this toolkit simple for anyone to use, not just lawyers. When you sign up, you're going to get access to the Online Business Legal Toolkit, which is a total value of $29.97. You're also going to get, as part of that, the Lock It Down Legal Protection System, which talks about how to start a strong legal foundation, protect your online web presence and properties, keep your intellectual property safe, maintain your contractual relationships. You'll be able to go from a worried entrepreneur to a legally legit CEO. So it all starts with Module 1. And in a little bit, I'm going to take you behind the scenes and show you all these things. But Module 1 talks about how to set up a strong legal foundation. Then in Module 2, we're going to talk about protecting your online web properties. In Module 3, we're going to talk about the contracts you need for working with clients, vendors, and contractors and how to prepare those. And then in Module 4, we're going to show you how to keep your intellectual property safe. Fran Jeans was another student of mine who made it through the toolkit. She said, the reassurance that my site has got a solid privacy policy and terms of service in place. Crazy as it sounds, as a web designer, this hadn't been a high priority, but the course made me realize that all the fine print is not just for big corporations or e-commerce businesses. So some of you asked, who is this toolkit going to work for? It works for course creators, freelancers, aspiring group coaches, bloggers, podcasters, social media influencers, coaches and consultants, affiliate marketers, YouTubers. Now, as I go through this list, somebody asked about a drop shipping company. You can also add this to that list. If you're running an online business, this toolkit will work for you. But it really kind of depends on how you're running your drop shipping company. I guess we can talk about that here in a little bit. Now, you might be thinking, I'm not sure I need this because I don't have an online business yet. Well, if you have an idea of a business that you want to start online, then this is a great first step. People who invest in themselves and take action are the ones that are the most successful. So what you're going to get the Lock It Down Legal Protection System. Like I said, total value $29.97. And then every successful business must use systems to grow. The same is true with the legal aspects of protecting your business. In order to make sure that you have maximum legal protection, you need to have a lawyer on hand to guide you, or else you need to use checklists to make sure you've covered all your bases. That's why I've created a series of checklists that you can use to make sure every area of your business is legally protected. And this is what I call my intentional verification process that's going to keep you protected. As part of this process, we include an online business legal audit, a business entity choice checklist, a 10-step entity formation checklist, your online terms of service and privacy policies checklist, a contractor employee checklist. And I know what you're thinking. I'm not a lawyer. I won't understand how to use this system. And John asks, what if I have an Amazon FBA business? We will talk about that here in just a minute. This system was built with the non-lawyers in mind. I've made them simple, clear, and concise, the checklists and all the materials within this. With these documents, anyone could pick them up and protect their online business. Now, my intentional verification system took me years of experience and research to create and develop. Clients, like I said, pay me significant legal fees to gain the benefits and legal protections that this system provides. But not only will the intentional verification system save you thousands of dollars in hiring lawyers to help you now, but it will also help you uncover the hidden legal problem areas in your business, potentially keeping your business out of legal trouble and saving you thousands of dollars in future legal fees. Mario was another student that made his way through the toolkit. He said, this course provided me with more clarity about the legal documents required for my website and business, plus actually getting the legal templates I needed to get started. So let's go through again. You're going to get the Lock It Down Legal Protection System valued at $29.97, the Intentional Verification System valued at $14.97, which brings the total value to $44.94. You're also going to get contracts. This was one of the biggest benefits that people wanted when I first created this course in beta launch last year, contracts. And this is another major tool that lawyers use to protect their clients. As I was building this course, I realized that you would need some legal templates to help you protect your online business, to protect your website, to protect your relationships, to protect you from lawsuits, to protect you from unforeseen risks, and also to protect your brand. So here are some of the contracts and legal templates that you're going to get. You're going to get a website terms of service. You're going to get the privacy policy, which is legally required in all 50 states and the European Union. You're going to get the website terms of sale for courses, ebooks, e-commerce, things of that sort. You're going to get my legal disclaimers galore. I think I have 10 or 11 pages of legal disclaimers that you can use in your business. You're going to get my independent contractor agreement. You're going to get my one-to-one client contract. You're going to get my LLC operating agreement. And then I'm also working on right now, currently, a group coaching contract, which is coming soon, a copyright assignment, which is coming soon, and a podcast guest agreement that's also coming soon. You're going to get access to all of these. Now, you can find these on my website. Combined value of all these contracts is $17.79, and that doesn't include the 3 contracts that I'm working on right now that are also going to go into the toolkit. So the Lock It Down Legal Protection System valued at $29.97, the Intentional Verification System valued at $14.97, the legal templates and contracts valued at $17.79, although I would argue it's actually much more than that because there's other contracts that are coming soon that are not included in that. Total value now, we're at $62.73. I know what you're thinking. I don't sell anything on my website, so this won't work for me. So for those of you that are like Amazon FBA, this might be you. Maybe you, now if you have a Shopify store and you're selling through Amazon FBA, that could be you, but some people just go right to Amazon FBA. But that's not true. Almost every course creator or coach has an online presence of some sort. And even people that are selling on Amazon FBA, I would argue, their goal should be to eventually move their business from Amazon to their own website so that they can build a brand, so they can sell that brand. And so whether it's a social media profile on Instagram or a YouTube channel or your own website or a Shopify store, you have an online web presence. The other thing that you're going to get is access to our Facebook community. This is an old image. We've got much more than 41 members now. Craig says, I'm working on opening my own Shopify store. Yeah. So if you can actually, some people don't know this, but if you are selling on Amazon FBA, you actually can link your Shopify store to Amazon directly, and Amazon can still fulfill for you, but you get to collect all the user information through the Shopify store, which is a huge benefit to doing that if you're thinking about that. So what are you going to get? You're going to get my Lock It Down Legal Protection System valued at $29.97. You're going to get my Intentional Verification System valued at $14.97. My legal templates and contracts valued at way more than $17.79. The private Facebook community valued at $97 a month or $11.88. And then total value, we're at $74.61. But, and this is huge, this is this is something that can't be understated. I think that a lot of people don't quite understand exactly how valuable this portion of this bonus. This is my first bonus that I'm going to share with you to show you that I'm invested in your success. You're going to get 12 monthly group coaching calls. I'm in the process of turning this whole program into a monthly membership program. If you join during this launch, you're going to get access to 12 monthly group coaching calls valued at $297 a month. These calls are the keys to ensuring your success. Every month, we're going to touch on a different legal topic that will be relevant to your business, everything from legal templates to seasonal information to current events. This may turn out to be the most valuable hour of your month. Typically, we spend from an hour to an hour and a half on these calls with people, and they ask me a lot of questions about a lot of different topics. Today, we had the call earlier today. We talked about everything from trademarks to contracts to intellectual property for vlogging to all sorts of different things. Total value here for a year of these calls, $35.64. This is a limited time only bonus. This is not going to be here for long, but you're going to get that if you join tonight. You're going to get the Lock It Down Legal Protection System valued at $29.97. The Intentional Verification System valued at $14.97. The Legal Templates and Contracts valued at $17.79. The Private Facebook Community valued at $11.88. And the Limited Time Bonus, 12 months of legal coaching valued at $35.64. Total value, I told you it's going to be over $11,000. It's $11,025. But today's price for lifetime access is $997, or 3 payments of $397. Now I'm going to type here in the chat. You can go to the website that you can go to. Is right there. That's the website you can go to. Now, you've got two choices right now. You can do nothing, or you can invest in you and your future. So the real question I have for you today is it worth gambling a few minutes of your time to check this out? Even if it only does half of what I've claimed today, even if you only use the templates and you don't do anything else, your investment's going to pay for yourself as soon as you use those legal templates. So again, what you're going to get is the system for $29.97. The website is hawthornlaw.net/special. The legal templates and contracts valued at $17.79. Dream asks, will these work in all states? Yes, they are meant to work in all states. Eliza says, yes, all states. Yes, you're right. Absolutely right. The private Facebook community valued at $11.88. And then the limited time bonus, 12 months of legal coaching valued at $35.64. Total value $11.25. Like I said, your investment today, $9.97. But special fast action bonus. This is bonus number 2. I actually have 3, so wait for it. I've got another one. The first 10 signups, full pay, get a 1-to-1 legal strategy call for free, $2.99 value. You have to redeem that within 60 days. But the first 10 people to sign up will get access to that legal strategy call with me for free. Stephanie asks, will this work for an online digital agency? Yes, it will work for an online digital agency. If you're doing business online, absolutely it will work for you. And you have to understand that all the elements we talk about in the Lock It Down Legal Protection System are relevant to all businesses, whether you're online or you're offline. Everyone needs a legal foundation. Everyone needs to protect their online presence. Even if you're not selling online, you still have to protect your online presence, believe it or not. David says, please repeat the website again. It's https. There you go. I hope that's coming through. Hold on a second. Is this going through? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm only sending this to, it should be going to everyone. I'm sorry about that. It's https. I was only sending it to myself. All right, now everyone should see that. Hawthornlaw.net/special. But if you need to protect your online presence, everyone needs to worry about contracts. Everyone needs to worry about the intellectual property. if you're building a business that you're trying to grow. Where did I go here? Okay, so then the third bonus, special bonus number 3, is for those of you that are just getting started in your online business and you're struggling to make your first money online. I have a workshop for you that I did a month or 2 ago. You're going to learn how to master your mindset. You're going to learn how to choose a profitable niche. You're going to learn how to find your audience online, and you're going to learn how to create and sell your first product. I'm also going to show you how to do all this for less than $50 and without building a website. I don't sell this anywhere else, but I put a value on it of $497. I talk a lot about how I built my business and my YouTube channel and things like that. So this is something that if you're just getting started, this is a great starter course to help you launch your business. Alan says, what if there is no website per se? Everything is run through Etsy. I think that's the same as the Amazon FBA issue. You're still going to have those same issues, right, Alan? You still have to worry about whether or not you need to set up an LLC or some other business entity. You're still going to need to worry about you need a contract in place for people to buy your products on Etsy. You still need to worry about if you're going to build a brand. I have a client right now, a trademark client, who when she first started working with me, she sold everything on Etsy, and she built her brand on Etsy. Now she has her own website and she's going from there, but we just helped her get her trademark through there as well. So yeah, if you're selling on Etsy, you still have an online presence. You're still, I presume, you've got social media profiles, you've got all these things. So you're still going to have these issues you're going to have to deal with, even if you're not selling on your own website. So to get started today, like I said, there's a link at the bottom. It's hawthornlaw.net/special. The first 10 people to sign up get the legal strategy call for free. Everyone will get the secret bonuses, make your first 1K online, and the 12 group coaching calls for $997 or 3 payments of $397. So a lot of questions I get are, how long do I have access? You're going to have access for lifetime access as long as I keep the course open. Now that's for the course. So access for the course is the lock it down system, the intentional verification system, the legal templates and contracts, and the private Facebook community. The 12 months of legal coaching, you'll get 12 months of those. After 12 months, within the next couple months, I'm going to be moving that to a monthly program. And so that will shut off, or you can choose to stay on and pay for that and stay on after the fact. But that's only for 12 months, but everything else you get lifetime access to. Craig says, I'm in, Jim, just paid in full. Unfortunately, I have to go. Awesome. Thanks, Craig. Glad to see you in. I see also that Samantha also joined. So thank you, Samantha. Great to have you. David says, just joined. Awesome. Thank you, David. Glad to have you as well. And Alan says, will be sending us an email with this link and a reminder of how long it is good for. Yes, I am. Yes and no. I'm still trying, since this is my first time doing it with Zoom. I previously have done it with Webinar Jam. Webinar Jam automatically tags everyone that attends the webinar, and then the email goes out after the webinar is done. With Zoom, I have to figure out how to do this. So after we get done tonight, I'm going to go in and figure out who was on and who wasn't on. If I can't identify who was actually on the webinar, then I'm just going to send an email to everyone that registered with this information. The offer for the $997 with the free strategy call is only good until midnight tonight. Then that'll go away. So it'll either be the first 10 people to sign up or until midnight tonight. And then you'll have to go to the, then it'll be gone tomorrow. So don't wait till tomorrow. If you're thinking about doing it, I suggest you get in tonight. What legal templates are included? So all the legal templates I talked about tonight are included. Teresa says, just pulled the trigger. Thank you, Teresa. I'm excited to have you. So what legal templates are included? Everything we talked about tonight. The other thing I want to tell you, and I see that, I think that's you, Teresa. Awesome. Thank you. I think that uh, one thing that you don't know that I haven't really talked about publicly is I'm in the process of really building out more robust templates for my online template store that I have. You're going to get access to all of them. So at this point, we're talking about thousands of dollars worth of legal documents that you'll get access to, because every time I put a new template into my legal template store, I also add it to the online business legal toolkit as a special bonus. So John says I have to run. Thank you for being here, John. So Jennifer says, what about high risk spaces such as cannabis? What about high risk spaces such as cannabis? I don't have anything specific related to the cannabis industry because, again, that's a state specific issue. I steer away from state specific issues. We're talking about general legal principles, federal issues such as trademarks and copyrights, website terms of services, privacy policies. These are all included in kind of federal type of issues. Alize says, if I pay the $9.97 tonight, will you still charge additional fees to set up an entity in our state? So it's important that you understand, this is a course I teach you how to set up your LLC. I don't do your LLC for you. If you wanted to hire me to do your LLC for you, then you're free to do that. But I have, and actually this is probably a good time to show you the training. Let's see here. I'm just going to pull the chat down. I have to switch. Give me a second here. We'll go back to this in a sec. Hold on a second. I'm sorry. Just give me a second. I'm just still figuring out all this technology here. I want to share with you this page. All right. So when you go to HTTP or when you go to hawthornlaw.net/special, you're going to come to this page. This is the checkout page. Right here. But when you log into the course itself, it's going to show you this. So this is what you're going to get. You're going to get access to all three of these courses. We have the legal toolkit here, the online business, the group coaching calls here, earn your first 1K online workshop here. You're going to get access to all of these. When you go into the online business legal toolkit, what you're going to see is you're going to get a welcome module that's going to give you some checklists here. It's going to give you access to our Facebook community, an overview of the system, and then we're going to go into module 1, setting up a strong legal foundation. So what we do here is there's a lesson that talks about which business entity might be right for your business, and then I have a separate lesson that talks about how to actually file your business entity, regardless of what state you're in. This lesson is going to apply. Now, the procedures might be a little bit different in each state, but in general, they're going to be very, very similar. And then I actually walk you through exactly how to do it, how I would do it in North Carolina. North Carolina and Florida are two states that I'm licensed to practice in, but I actually walk you through how to do it. So I do not. So Alize, if you pay the $9.97 tonight, I'm not going to be setting up your LLC for you. You will have to set up your LLC yourself. Dream says, thanks. I found the answer to my question. This is amazing. I'm awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Let's see here. So some of the other questions that people asked, let me stop sharing for a second here. So hopefully you can still see, well, if you can't see, but it's hawthornlaw.net/special. Share screen. We'll go back here. So I have an offline business. Will this course work? Again, I kind of talked about this a little bit before, but yes, it will work from the standpoint that you're still going to have legal foundation issues. You're still going to have online presence issues. Even if you have an offline business, I hate to tell you, but I mean, even if you do landscaping, there's things like Angie's List. There's things like, what's that other one? Next Door. There's different services like this where people talk about you and where you could still be getting business, even if you don't have a website. But almost everyone has a website. So you still have things that are going to impact your business on an online basis. And then you might still be collecting people's information online. You still might be selling your services online, even if you don't have what I would call, a strictly online business where you're selling a course or you're selling e-commerce or something like that. You still might be selling your services, but doing it through a website. You're still going to have to deal with contracts. You're still going to have to um, deal with intellectual property issues. Let's see. What if I haven't started my business yet? Well, that's why I have the bonus offer in there about how to earn your first $1,000 online. I have a lot of people that are in the course that are getting things set up, and they're actually building their business as they do this as well. And they're learning and they're growing and believe it or not, as you can imagine, having over 117,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel, you're also getting access to me twice a month. One thing I didn't mention is um, I also bring on, and this month will be the third month in a row we've done it since we started doing this. We bring on a subject matter expert once a month as well. So there's one group coaching call, and then there's also a subject matter expert that I bring on once a month. And usually we do those about, so one call is a group coaching call. We skip a week, and then the next is a subject matter expert. Later this month, we're going to be bringing on Gordon Firemark. He's another intellectual property and copyright and trademark lawyer from California. A couple months ago, we brought on Rick Mulready, who is an online business guru. He's a coach, knows a lot, has a podcast. Great guy. And then last month we brought on Michael King to talk about the financial aspects of running your online business and what you need to be doing to set yourself up for financial success. And so every month I try and bring on somebody else. I have a copywriter I'm talking to right now that I'd like to bring on. I have a PR person I'm talking to right now that I'd like to bring on. And so I'm lining up people for the next several months. So that's another bonus that you're going to get that I didn't even talk about in today's training. Let's see. I lost the chat function. So people are chatting. Somehow I lost that. Let me see if I can find that. Oh, there we go. Teresa says, can this course fee be a business write-off? I'm not an accountant, but I would say yes. I do think it is. I would write it off if I was taking it. Alize says, show us the Dream says, I can't think of any business that does not need this. I agree with you. Alize says, show us the contract templates. Okay, let me show you the contract templates. Give me a sec. Figure this out. There's some things I like a lot better about Zoom. There's some things that make Webinar Jam a little bit easier, but here, let's go through this. So hopefully you can see this. We're still in the course. So let's see. I'll go through a simple one and show you exactly how this works. So let's do the privacy policy. So for every template we have, so you see module 2 is a lot of templates. This is the document, what did I call it? The proprietary document drafting system that I have. This is what I've created. So I've got a video that shows you exactly how to work through every single template that we have. But then in addition, You can go through, this is basically a questionnaire. So when you'll click on, you'll go to this questionnaire, and then you can just go ahead and we can type in, let's say XYZ Corp, or let's say Z Company LLC. What's your web address? I'm doing the privacy policy because this one is fairly short. There's not too many options with the privacy policy. Some of the other ones are much longer. So then you can check on what services do you use in your business. Let's say you use Google Analytics. Let's say you use AdWords and Facebook ads. If you store customer client information using Box or Dropbox, let's say you use Dropbox. Do you honor do not track signals? If you don't know what this means, then click no. So I'll click no because I never know what that means. So then that gives you all the basic information. And then you go ahead and click continue. And what it does is, and I'm gonna have to change screens here. It does its little magic in the background. And then you can go ahead and download. And I'll show you what this looks like. So you can open this up in Word. Hopefully this will work. I've been having some issues with Microsoft Word today for some reason, but all right. So let me share this one with you. Where is it? Microsoft Word. So then it'll just basically, it'll give you, hopefully you can see that. Oh, wait. Why is my sharing screen paused? Oh. Let me try this again. Sorry. So then that'll give you the, all right, there you should see it. So then you'll have a Word document that has the contract in it that you can use. And sometimes there'll be little instructions, and I highlighted those of things that you might need to edit or change. But for our privacy policy, it's compliant with California's Privacy Protection Act. It's also compliant with GDPR. So you've got all that information that you need. So let me stop that and go back to see what other questions have. Dream, I want to know, you found the answer to your question. I'd love to know what your question was. Dream says, I can't think of any business that does not need this. I would agree with that. Does this system apply to someone who only wants to run a YouTube channel and nothing else? Absolutely, yes. I mean, I'm a YouTuber. Obviously, you can see back there somewhere is my 100K play button. If I was only doing this on YouTube, you've got branding issues, you've got contracts, you've got legal disclaimers that you're going to need for your business. You know, there's so much that you would need if you're doing things on YouTube and YouTube only. And again, the best way to build a business, if you're building a business on YouTube or any other platform, is to build it on that platform and then slowly pull yourself all off that platform onto your own separate property. You ultimately, you want to get people onto your own web property, whatever that might be. And you're going to need this. I mean, this is, I mean, I think this is a no-brainer personally. Was if it will help with choosing entity, but you figured out that question, Dream. I think you said you figured out that question. Yes, good. So yes, and for those of you that didn't understand, she was asking whether or not this will help us in figuring out which entity to use. I think I showed in the back end of the toolkit, there is a tutorial on how to pick the right business entity, as well as how to form the correct business entity. The other thing I want to show you from the back end, if I can find it. All right, let me close this and this. Okay, so some of the other things you're going to see here, there's a whole module on keeping your intellectual property safe. We go through how to register your copyrights. There's a 15-minute video on how to do that. There's a 42-minute video on how to do a proper trademark search, way more in depth than anything I do on YouTube. So if you're sitting here thinking, well, can I get all this information for free on YouTube? Well, yeah, I do give away a lot of it for free on YouTube, but I go into way more detail here in the course than I go on YouTube. How to register trademarks. I got a 20-minute video on that. And then we have an intellectual property checklist that you can use, again, part of our intentional verification system. And then we've got some bonus materials here that I haven't really talked about. One is a video that talks about 10 avoidable mistakes that online entrepreneurs make. We have another one that I talk about how to keep your website safe from scammers and copycats, including technology that you can use. Whoa, what's that? Oh, sorry, just started playing in my head. It was on autoplay. Anyway, how to keep your website safe from scammers and copycats, including the technology that you can use in the back end to actually protect your blog. These are the coaching call replays from the first 4 modules. And these were from last year, the first coaching calls we did. And you can see each of them, 2 hours, hour and a half, hour and a half. And that's the way it was for all these topics. And then let's go back. One other thing I want to show you is these are the group coaching calls. So, wait, what happened there? Oh, wrong one. This one. So, so we have, this is an interview we did with Michael King last month. We have a summary of what we did. This is our April coaching call is right here. Again, everything we talked about. Rick Mulder, we talked in March. And then the January, February, March coaching calls. So we've got them all listed in kind of chronological order. The one for today obviously hasn't been posted yet, but let's see. What other questions do people have? My question was if it will help with choosing an entity. So when we use your templates and draft a contract, we then forward to you for revision and a cost related per hour. Alize, sorry, I can't see the questions while I was sharing my screen, but yes, I will get to them now. No, so I want people to understand, when you purchase this toolkit, it is a DIY system. Now, I have group coaching calls and I answer questions about the toolkit, but you're not hiring me to be your lawyer. You're not hiring me to review your contracts. You're responsible for doing the contracts on your own. If you purchase tonight for full pay, and you're one of those first 10 people to purchase, and I don't know how many people have purchased at this point, if you're one of those first 10 people, then you will have the ability to get on a phone call with me for a strategy call. And what some people have done in the past during that strategy call is they will use that as an opportunity to have me review some of their contracts with them. And so that is a possibility. But beyond that, if you wanted me to review your contracts, yes, you would have to pay us for that. But the contracts are written in such a way that there shouldn't be too much revision. There's instructions. I go through a tutorial that talks about what every clause is in each contract and help people understand exactly what's in those contracts so that you kind of know what you're doing. I give you all the tools so that you can do it yourself. Some people still want a lawyer to review it. That's fine. I'm happy to review it for you, but that is not something that's included in the course. Dream says the format is perfect to alter for multiple businesses. I agree. S to panelists Says, still watching your Zoom, but also peeking through the system. Just want to say thank you so much for putting this all together. So much better than flipping through a book or searching Google or YouTube and hoping that my piecing the information together works out. Haha. Thank you. I appreciate that. That is good to hear. Let's see here. So I guess that's Samantha. So what other questions do people have? I'm so happy to hear that some people are finding it useful, even as they're just getting started tonight and we're still doing the webinar. But I'm happy to stay on. I've got more time. One of the things that I didn't like about Webinar Jam is Webinar Jam would cut us off at 2 hours flat, but I'm happy to stay on and continue to answer some questions if you have them. I'm going to take a quick sip of water though. You can either put them in the Q&A or you can put them in the chat function, whatever works for you. Let's see. And I thought I don't know if Jenny is still on. Jenny had her hand raised a little while back. I don't know if we got her question or not. Hopefully we did. This has been a good group of folks tonight. I really appreciate your sticking with me. Dream says, I just want to thank you again. It's a wonderful opportunity. Awesome. Are you going to be joining? Hopefully you will be joining us. Obviously you recognize the value. And there were months when I was going through some of my own issues as an online entrepreneur and trying to, we all go through that, a little bit of that imposter syndrome and wondering whether or not what we really offer is worthwhile. I've had in the past couple months and in developing this system, obviously I've done a lot of research into what other lawyers are doing, what other lawyers are offering. And I think at the price point of this system and what I'm offering with this system, including what will be offered with the system in terms of future value, the calls, the templates, and all these things, I think that there's no other program really like this out there. I see a lot of programs that offer information on maybe basic stuff, how to get your business started, and maybe a couple templates, but nothing that goes in depth like my Lock It Down legal protection system. I think it's unrivaled at this point. Alize says, so with your course, I will be completely confident in the caliber of my operating agreement that I produce protecting my company veil. Yes. I mean, yes, it's a lawyer drafted contract. And obviously if you, we still have a couple people, we have had some people sign up tonight. We still have a couple slots left before we get to 10. So if you purchase it tonight, and you want to talk about that during, and Jennifer just purchased, awesome. Glad to have you, Jennifer. If you purchase tonight, you will, we can go through your operating agreement with you on our call. And I do that with some people. The feedback I've gotten from a lot of people about this course has been incredibly positive. And so I've already shared with you a number of testimonials from people. Let me also show you, looks like Sydney just joined. Thank you, Sydney. Excited to have you. And all these people that are joining, by the way, are paying full price. So those 10 slots are getting eaten up. Only have a few left. So I would say the other thing I want to show you is I kind of, Jennifer says, saving me the time and protecting my intellectual property is huge. I don't disagree with you. There's just, every month when I do those coaching calls, people ask questions. I mean, let me just read to you some of the questions that we got asked today on the coaching calls that we went through. I've got in my notes here. Let me just find them. We talked about copyright assignments and also I will tell you that the students that are in my course are the ones that are influencing what legal templates I'm going to be providing. So if you're going through the course and you're like, well, we don't have a template on this one thing, the students that are attending the group calls, that are asking the questions, those are the people who are having a direct impact on what additional information I'm going to be putting out there. So a copyright assignment, that is a result of 2 of my students saying that they needed a copyright assignment because they had somebody design a logo and they needed to make sure they wanted to register their copyright, but they didn't have a contract for that. And could I do that for them? And so while I'm not doing it for them specifically, it's the next template up in line for me to draft because I know that at least 2 of my students need it. We talked about how to make sure your LLC is properly funded. We talked about how to talk to your clients and your customers about the need for a contract. So like I said, one of my students today he just joined when I opened up the program last month. He had just joined and he had been operating for the past year and a half with a contractor without a contract. And hold on a second. And so so that's something we talked about. I was coaching him through how to talk to his contractors to make sure he understands that they need a contract. And now he has a template that he can use to give to them and say, hey, I need you to sign this contract. Sorry, it took a year and a half, but we're going to do it. LSA says, you're awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I would love to have you in the course. What else do we talk about? One of my students is getting ready to launch her program. The other thing we do is we share wins on every coaching call. And so we see where people are at. Let's see. I have a client right now that since he started, he's getting, or not a client, but one of the students actually is a client too. Some of my students also hire me to do other things for them. That happens. So he's a client and a student, but he talked about what he's working on and how he's, because of the confidence he's gotten from joining this course, he's gotten the confidence to actually go out and make his online business idea a reality. And now he's starting to get people signing up for his workshops and trainings they didn't have before because he was too nervous about starting his business. So even though this is a legal course, there's a lot of business coaching that goes into it as well. I'm not a business coach, but I've just done it for so long. I've been doing online business for about 10 years now, that I share what works for me and what doesn't work for me. And I share with people about, if people want to know about how I built my YouTube channel, I help with that too. Let's see, fear of what could go wrong along with imposter syndrome definitely give me pause and hold me up from working on the actual meat and potatoes of what I want to create. Yep, that's right. It happens to me too. I'll tell you right now, it happens to me too. We had a new student today, someone who just joined. She made her first group call today. People talk about where they are in the process. Yeah, so anyway, we just go through so much. And honestly, I mean, the course is great. Like the course, if it was just the course, I think it's worth all the value that the course provides. But man, I can't stress enough how valuable the coaching calls are. I mean, that hour and a half a month that we spend. Another one is a model release. That's in a group coaching template. Those are some of the ones we're also working on. Dream says, my husband will be home at 11. I hope I do not miss the opportunity. Financial decisions over $500 we discussed before purchase. I totally respect that. I think that is a smart thing to do for a happy marriage. So please do that. And hopefully he will see the value. the replay, I don't know how long it's going to take to get the replay up. Like I said, this is the first time I've done Zoom. It's not going to be up tonight. It'll probably be up tomorrow because this is going to be a rather long replay. We've already been on for almost 2 hours, and I don't know exactly how. I haven't figured out yet where it's going to be hosted since, like I said, this is the first time I've used Zoom for webinar, but there will be a replay up, and I don't think it'll be in time frame to watch it if that's something you're thinking about. But I think that's Dream. You are smart. That is a smart thing to do. Let's see. I think it was Sydney is the S, right? Says that, yeah, Sydney. No, Samantha. Samantha's the S, I think. Says that she's been waiting. Yeah. On this to be out, and she's the only one involved in the decision. Yeah. So let's see. What other questions do people have? I've just been kind of rambling a little bit, but I'm happy to answer more questions about the program. Last time I launched it, I did a number of lives after the webinar was finished and to the last day of the launch. And I'm not doing that this time. I might do one on Monday, but this is the last you're going to hear from me until this closes. Now you're going to get emails from me over the next couple days as well. And then I'll do another probably YouTube live on Monday. But yeah. Sorry for the grammar. No big deal. No issues with the grammar. So I'm happy to keep chatting. But let's see. Let me know. Any questions? We still got some people on, which is awesome. Let's see. Blanca says, would you be helping with trademarks? There is an entire module in the course about trademarks and copyrights and intellectual property. That's, again, not something I would file for you, but I teach you how to do a search. I teach you, there's an extensive training in there about how to do a trademark search to make sure. That's one of the big mistakes people make, is not having done a proper search. So there's a training on how to do that. There is a training on how to actually go through the process of registering your trademark with the application. And there's also one on how to do a copyright. So if I don't buy, Alize says, if I don't buy your $9.97 product, your legal contracts on your website, right? Yes, you can still purchase the legal contracts on your website. I mean, honestly, I don't know, Alize, I don't know. You can absolutely buy my legal contracts on my website. But if you look, again, if you go to my website, let me just show you the screen here. Go back here. I don't know where that was, but let me see here. These are the, I think I have some other websites on my website now, but these are the ones I'm listed. So you can see the prices. I mean, the terms of sale is $397. The terms of service is $297. The privacy policy is $197. I mean, that's that's $900 right there just for those. The one-to-one client consulting contract. I mean, so if you add all these up, it's $1,779. That's what I did on my calculator, at least. So yeah, you could buy these a la carte whenever you want, if you want. And like I said, I'm going to be building out my contract store, which is going to have more contracts. Typically, the contracts are going to be between $297 and $497. And so they will be available. And yes, you can absolutely purchase them. But for $997, you get all those contracts as well as all the future contracts I do. So I'm going to be adding, I've got a list. I actually put it up today. And I've got a list of about 20 contracts that I'm working on that that are going to be available on the website. Those are all going to go into the online business toolkit. Like those are all going to be there. So I guess, yeah, if you want to save some money today and buy a contract for $297 or $397, that's fine. But for $997, you get the whole shebang. Let's see. NF says, I'm leaving now. Great advice. You're welcome. Thank you, NF. Blanca says, I made a big mistake already, so I need to do it again. I don't know what that means. Alize says, oh, I don't know what that means. Texts are so hard to read. Blanca says, are you Eastern time for the offer to end? Yes. So there's actually, hold on a second. I'll show you. There's a countdown, so you can't miss it. I try and make things keep it simple, stupid, right? It helps me too. But there's a countdown timer right here, 2 hours and 56 minutes. We're on Eastern time. So, and this is out of my hands. When the clock strikes 11:59, this will go away. And the offer is still going to be available for the next several days, but you're just not going to be able to get on the strategy call, which is a lot of people like the strategy call. But if you don't care about the strategy call and you want to do the payment plan, that's fine. We have the payment plan as well, which is $397 a month for 3 months. But you can save 20%, $200 about. I think if my math is right, by let's see if that's right. 20%. I think it's about $200 you save if you pay in full. Let's see. Dream says, thank you. I'm going to log off. He will say yes. He knows I'm diligent with research and protecting our finances. You got a good husband. Thank you, Dream, for being here. Have a great night. Look forward to seeing you in the program. Blanca says, I registered a brand that already existed and lost a year. That's what I meant. Oh, yeah. I have one of my students I'm working with right now had started using his brand before he started working with me. And that's what happened. We did a trademark search and found that there was a conflict, and we talked about the issues. We talked about different things. It's not a direct match, but it's very close. And so I'm helping him work through what to do with that right now. But for the record, he's a student in the toolkit, but he also hired me independently to do a trademark for him. So like I said, some of my students also hire me independently to do legal work for them. That does happen. Alize says, do operating agreements get revised as you move forward or grow in your business? And if so, how does that get officially recorded? You don't have to record an operating agreement. You can edit those whenever you want. But they're important to have on hand. Like last year when the PPP loans were coming out and things of that sort, my banker asked me for mine. He's like, it was part of the loan application. I needed to have it on the ready. So if I hadn't done it, it would have been a problem, but I did, obviously. But that's not something that gets recorded anywhere. But it does need to be edited and changed, and it's something that needs to be revised, periodically. Teresa says, I look forward to not feeling alone in this journey. I look forward to having you. Alize says, can you touch on that for a sec? Okay, I forget what I was saying that you want me to touch on. I'm sorry. I'm just reading through the comments as they go. Dream says, you're not alone. You have a community now. Do I have time for the 10th slot still? Yes, I've got 4 slots available. So there's 4 slots available. How much do you charge to register a brand if available? To help you with your trademark, I think we charge $22.50 for the first trademark, and then we give a discount if there's 2. Sometimes people file like a logo and a brand name, or a logo and a brand name and a slogan. And so we'll charge one fee, and then we charge it. Usually we get a little bit of a discount on the second fee. And I don't know exactly what those fees are off the top of my head. I apologize. I've got them. Everything is listed on my website. If you go to hawthornlaw.net/fees, all our fees are listed. Alize says, I'm about to pay for the $9.97. Blanca says, thank you. You're welcome. And yeah, so Alize says, I'm scared a little. What are you scared of? I totally get it. You know, I don't know. I don't know. So, I mean, just myself personally, and this is something that it took me some time. I remember the first time I invested in an online course. It was probably in 2011 or 2012. It was a $500 program. When I told my wife that I had done that, she flipped her lid. It was under Dream's requirement, the $500. It was like $495. But it changed my life because it gave me confidence. It gave me a community, and I started to realize what was actually possible. Now, it took me a long time to get there, but now I am there. And everything that I've done with this program, you know, I have a business coach that I pay quite a bit of money to each month. And but it's totally worth it, because where I'm at with building out this program and my online business and my YouTube channel, and stepping away from my law firm. So like, I'm not taking any litigation clients anymore. Like, I had somebody wanted to hire me for litigation. I have multiple people that want to hire me for litigation each week, and I turn them all down because I don't want to do that anymore. And I have the freedom to not be able to do that anymore because of what an online business has done for me. It's amazing. Ellen says, this is so awesome. Oh, Alize, what are you? What is your business if you're not an online business? Go ahead and share that with me. And actually, I can bring you on, I think, if you want to talk. I can allow you to talk. Do you want to answer me? Do you want to ask some questions? I can bring you on to talk. It's up to you. Nah, okay. You're going to start a logistics business. So I don't understand what that means. Blanca says, when you mentioned Amazon and Shopify, why don't you think, why you don't think that selling on Amazon isn't a good idea to grow a brand? No, I do think it's a good idea. I think it's a good idea to start. But here's the issue with selling on Amazon. When you sell on Amazon, when you sell on Amazon, Amazon controls all the information. They control the name of the client. They control their email addresses, things like that. Now, there's ways you can get that information, but technically it's against Amazon's term of service to do it. And you might know what I'm talking about. You include a card inside the packaging that says, for a free giveaway, give us your email address and we get it. And then you can get that information. But you don't control any of that information if it's all on Amazon. Now, Amazon is a great channel to start because you're plugging yourself into an established channel where people want to buy from you. But then slowly over time, as your sales start to increase, I think the better practice is to slowly take your brand off of Amazon. You still might sell through Amazon and fulfill by Amazon, but if you can start to build your own email list and your own products that you can sell, then you have a brand that another company might want to buy. Transport business, I want my contracts to be solid. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know enough to answer that question, I guess. I totally get what you're saying in terms of, I I don't know how to answer that, Alize. I'm sorry. Dream says they own basically you and your product. Yeah. And then what happens is on Amazon, if they see your product doing really well, what happens? Well, now an Amazon Basics product comes out and they undercut your price because they can. So Amazon is amazing because they can tell exactly what's working and what's not. They have so much data on what people are buying. Yeah. So my thought is, and I don't have an e-commerce brand currently. I did at one point, but my thought is take that off. Start a Shopify store, as quickly as you can. Still sell through. You still have. I'm not saying take your listings down on Amazon, but I'm saying you can sell through Amazon and you can sell through your own store that you can send. You can pay ads to send people to and things like that. I want my contract with my clients and my staff. Okay. So I don't have any transport contracts. I wouldn't know how to do that. But with your clients and your staff, I don't, and that's something we would get into probably on one of the group coaching calls, is we might be able to answer this a little better for you. But I can give you, we do have an independent contractor agreement. We have, we talk about one-to-one client contracts, so that could deal with your staff and maybe your clients as well. Every contract at its core has a certain number of clauses that it has to have to make it a valid contract if it's a service-based contract. And it sounds like you're kind of a service-based contract. Now there are things that might need to go into your contract that are unique to a transport business. I don't know what those would be, but there's a lot of the standard clauses that are going to need to go into those contracts as well, and you get access to that. Ilan says, I have direct sales, but building my email list. So if I buy the program, do I have access to contracts of any of all kinds? You have access to all the contracts that I draft. Every contract that's going to go on my website now or in the future goes into the Online Business Legal Toolkit. If that makes sense. Also, I might add that as I talked about, I'm planning on taking this coaching program, a monthly coaching call, into a monthly subscription. A prerequisite to get into the coaching program is you have to purchase the Online Business Legal Toolkit. So if you're thinking, well, when in a couple months, I'll just pay the $300, $400 a month to get into the coaching program. No, you still have to buy the toolkit before I'm going to let people into the coaching, because the coaching is really premised on the fact that you need the information in the toolkit to make the coaching worthwhile. Otherwise, I'm going to be answering a bunch of questions that people would just have access to if they join the toolkit. Blanca says, on my first business that is a service, I have a private membership association. Clients can sign the contract before I talk to them. How would one of your contracts help me selling on Amazon or Shopify? Thank you again, perhaps. I have private membership. So you have a membership program of some sort is basically what it sounds like to me. Yeah, you would need the terms of sale, which is something that people would sign, and we talk about how to do that and how to make that effective before they sign up for your program. Now, if you selling on Amazon or Shopify, once you start to move to Shopify, not so much if you're just on Amazon, but even then, you might be running Facebook ads. You might be to a landing. Now, when I don't know how things are now, but when I was doing e-commerce, the standard kind of practice was that you ran Facebook ads to a landing page where you collected people's information, and then you sent them to and there are very specific ways you could do this without violating Amazon's terms of service, but you would collect their information and offer them a coupon code for like a, email of the month type of thing, where you would offer them a discount, a coupon code for one of your Amazon products. And so that's how people would do it. So when you do something like that, you still, even if you're selling on Amazon, you still need to have that terms of service, the privacy policy, the legal disclaimers, all those things. right? If you're on Shopify, you still need all of those things. And so all those contracts are included. Not to mention, if you are with Amazon, brand, it's my understanding from some of the other students that are in the toolkit right now that having a trademarked brand is more important now than ever because of all the counterfeits that are out there. And Amazon wants to see people register for brand registry. And one of the requirements for that, or one of the things they look at, I don't know if it's a requirement, is that you do have a trademark in place or you're in process so that they know who they're actually dealing with. So all these things they all go together, right? Cool, thanks. Alize says, well, all in all, if 987 gets me a business relationship started with an attorney in North Carolina and Florida and online with $239 rate for additional service is good, right? I don't know what the $239 rate for additional service. I don't know what you mean by that. Hour rate for additional services. Yeah, I don't know what the $239 an hour rate is, what you're talking about. The one-on-one contract in your package, can she reform it for each individual employee? Great question, Dream. Yeah, I know that Amazon doesn't let you link to your personal website. But if you have a Shopify store, you could be selling off the Shopify store and fulfilling by Amazon. Or like I said, what the coaches that I was using when I was selling e-commerce were saying to do is send ads to a landing page where people would input their information in exchange for coupon codes that they could then use on the Amazon store. That's the way they did it. No, my rate an hour is, I typically don't charge hourly rates. My hourly rate is very high. Most of the fees I do are flat fee, or people hire me on an annual retainer, which starts at $500 a month, if that makes sense. And that's all listed. Well, it's not all listed, but I don't know where you saw 239. I'm not 230. I'm like 450 an hour. Let's see. But okay, to go back to Dream's question about the one-on-one contract for your package, you can use any of my templates as long as you're a member of the toolkit in good standing, which you would be if you pay the full fee. You can use those contracts, and what a lot of people do is they format the one-to-one client contract to what's going to work for their business, and then you can use that for every client. You don't need to go in and draft the contract every time you're going to have a client. You might edit some of the services that you might be providing for certain clients. They might be a little bit different, but you use that one template, you create it, and then you upload that template into, if it's a one-to-one client contract, you usually would use like a Documate or a PandaDoc or something like that. And then you can use that same template over and over and over again with every single client. You don't need to go back into the course and redo it. Now, if I make updates to the contract, which happens quite frequently with the privacy policy and sometimes the terms of service, I let people know, and then you can go ahead and you can re-download them if you need to, if there's an update. So whenever there's an update, I tell you. So hopefully that makes sense. And the same is true with like, now I don't have any employee contracts, and that's because those are going to be state specific. Every state has different rules. Anytime there's a situation where the different states might have different rules about how those contracts are interpreted. So this happens a lot with like employee contracts. That's a great example. I typically steer away from doing those because I don't want to draft something that you may not be able to use in your state, right? The same is true with like non-compete agreements. Some states, those are valid. Some states, they aren't. I'm looking at maybe doing one of those in the future, but I would have to have some additional information on if you're in certain states, they might not work for you. Could you let me know how the legal coaching for the 12 months would be? Sorry if you answered before. Mom visited a minute, but she left me seeing me busy. That's fine. Blanca, how would it be? Uh, Basically, once you join, you get access to a calendar that has the dates for the next several months of meetings, and we have a meeting once a month. They're usually on Thursdays. We're trying to figure out May and June are my busiest months of the year because I have within 6 weeks, I have 3 kids and they all have birthdays within 6 weeks of each other. And so this is like the busiest, my wedding anniversary, it's a whole nightmare. So May and June are my busiest months. After I get through June, I'm going to settle in on, and it's going to be like the second Thursday of each month is the coaching call. They typically happen at 4 p.m. Eastern time. If you can't make it, the replay is uploaded into Teachable, so you can watch the replay, and there's usually a summary, as I showed you before. So hopefully that makes sense. But that's how that works. So you'll get access to them for the next 12 months. The next time I launch, it's not going to be 12 months. I know I said that last time, but then I talked to my business coach, and he wanted me to test something else out on this launch and not that. And so I am testing something different on this launch to see how this works. Because just like all of you, I'm trying to build a business here, and I'm trying to optimize it, and I've been tweaking things quite a bit during the past 6 or 7 months. Alize, $9.97 gets you lifetime access for as long as I offer it, and I don't plan on going anywhere. I'll tell you that. I love doing this program. I love the coaching calls. I love having the subject matter experts on, but I'll be honest, the reason why it's going to go to a monthly membership very soon is because doing the coaching call, number one, I want to provide even more value on the coaching calls. So I want to move from a kind of ask me anything type of call to doing more of a presentation and then an ask me anything. And I want to have a lot more content. Now, mind you, every single call I do, we fill up with an hour and a half of people asking questions. There's more than enough people on the calls. We get more than enough questions. And I think people find it extremely valuable. But I want to provide even more value. And then I want to bring on wonderful subject matter experts. I want to really ramp that up. And doing that in the way that I want to do it is going to take a lot of time and effort on my part. And I can't do that if I'm charging $1,000 for this program and then offering that kind of in perpetuity forever. So that's definitely going to be going to the way of a monthly membership at some point here in the very near future. And like I said, what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to ramp down from 12 months to 9 months free, then maybe 6 months, and maybe 3 months. And I don't know how quickly I'm going to ramp that down, but that's where I'm going to be going with that. And then so for right now, the way it stands is I'm keeping track of everyone who joins, and everyone has basically 12 months access. And then by the end, well, I guess it's going to be through May of next year at least, people are still going to be on the free plan, or the first 12 months free. And then beginning May or June of next year, I guess it would be June of next year, there'd be a monthly fee. But you get plenty of notice, and I'd be asking you ahead of time. I would ask you to re-sign up if that's something you wanted. It's not, when we collect your credit card information tonight, I'm not automatically enrolling you in a $297 program a month, 12 months from now, just so you know. So that's how that's going to work. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's see. Alize says, cool, good. Any other questions that people have? My throat's starting to hurt. but I'm happy to keep going. We still have a lot of people on, so this is great. I think I had a couple other questions that I meant to go through. Let's see. If I go back here. Sorry, I'm just going through these real quick. It's slower than going through the second time because I have to click through everything. All right. So the questions I have, we went through how long do I have access, lifetime access. And the reason I did that, and the reason why I'm breaking the monthly coaching into a separate kind of course, as I showed you, and then also it's going to be a separate fee for the reasons I talked about, is because everyone joins at a different place in their journey. And the toolkit is not meant to be for a first you do module 1, then you do module 2, then you do module 3, then you do module 4. It's meant to be a toolkit. And what happens with a toolkit? You reach in and you grab the tool you need when you need it. And some people, they're just getting started and they can see the value in this. So they want to invest now to lock in the price. Which this is the lowest it will ever be, by the way. I don't know that it's going to stay at $1,000. It might go to 1,500 or 2,000. I haven't decided that yet. But they see the value in it right now, so they want to get in. But then maybe 3 months from now, they say, you know what, we need to set up our LLC now. So now they dip in and they do it. And then 6 months from now, they do something else. And maybe a year from now, they want to do their trademark. But I don't want people thinking, oh, I only have access to a year, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to use it all in a year. I want you to know that you can come back to this program anytime you want, and you still have access to it. So that's why you have lifetime access to the toolkit itself and all the templates. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's see. I got a question from someone who joined, Teresa, who asked, how should one prep for the one-on-one call so they don't waste any time? Because Teresa already joined. I would say start working your way through the toolkit, maybe start working on some of the contracts, and look at some of the checklists that we include in the system and figure out where you're at. The legal audit that is included in the toolkit, that's something to look at and really see where your business is at. And we can kind of walk through that, and I can kind of help point you in the direction to show you what the next steps you should be doing. Sometimes people get into this and they're a little overwhelmed. They're not sure where to go next, which is another reason why I added the legal strategy call, because I want, but I had to limit it because I can't, number one, my time is valuable, and I couldn't have, a bunch of people signing up and getting this legal strategy call. I'd be doing strategy calls all day, every day. So I had to limit it to the number of people. But number two, I like it because it helps me steer people in the right direction, in terms of where they're at with their business. And I can give you a little bit more personal advice that I can't really give you on a group coaching call, because in a group coaching call, I can't ask you all the questions that I would need to ask you to give you appropriate legal advice, which is why I can't give legal advice on the group coaching calls. But when we do an individual strategy call, I can steer you in the right direction. Hopefully that makes sense. So in terms of prepping for that, my recommendation would be to start working your way through the program, look at some of the checklists, look at some of the templates, figure out where you're at, figure out what you need, what you think you need, and then we can talk about that and figure out if you really are on the right trajectory, or if maybe we needed to go in a different course. Also, if you're thinking about like trademarking or something of that sort, I can help walk you through that and let you know if you're on the right path with that as well, whether or not it's something I think that you need to move forward with right away, or something that maybe I think you can hold off on as well. Because you don't sometimes I mean, I'll be honest, sometimes for people it's important to do their trademark as soon as possible. Other times, not so much. Um, what makes your course different than other templates? I would say a couple things. Number one, I drafted all these templates. I put a lot of time and effort into my templates, which is one of the reasons why I can't pump them out like 5 a week. Because they take a long time to draft. Honestly, some of these are, 10, 12, 15 pages long, and it takes a long time to draft these, to edit them. Also, then we code them to put them into the document, the questionnaire system that you saw. Coding them takes a long time, so we have to draft different clauses for each situation that goes into each of those questions. So it takes a long time. I have seen templates from some of the, I'm not going to name any names, but some of the larger, um, uh, uh, places where you can purchase those type of things. And frankly, they're kind of crappy. So, um, yeah. So also, I'm a local lawyer here. I'm not a faceless corporation, so there's that too, and you also get the hand holding that kind of goes with it through the group coaching calls. So, do you also help with the articles of organization? Ilan, we have an entire video that walks through how to fill that out. It's not something I help with personally. Again, like I said, I'm not your lawyer. I am I'm a lawyer that's created this program to help you uh, walk through this. So unless you, um, now, if you want my help doing the articles of organization as part of that strategy call, if you're one of the first 10 people to sign up, then yes, I will. I'm more than happy to walk you through that um, during that strategy call. But outside of that, no, I can't do that. Let's see. Alize says question marks. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. So whenever I start talking like that, I miss the chats on a different section of my screen. It moves all over the place with Zoom. Last S says, looking forward to a non-disclosure agreement being included at some point. I feel nervous speaking with any of this. I wouldn't feel nervous. Again, I don't know much about your business or anything about your business at that point, but we can talk about that during your strategy call. Alize says, last question, what is your fee for setting up an entity if we decide to hire you? So I have two options. I have a DIY option, which starts at $199, and there's actually a link through my website to set up an LLC, and you can do it yourself for $199 plus the state filing fees. Or if you want to get on the phone with me and have me do it for you, then the fee starts at $497 for that plus the state filing fees. Blanca says, is it legal to sell on Shopify a product with a brand not trademarked? When I join, how can I set up the bonus 30-minute strategy call? Legal to sell on Shopify a product with a brand not trademarked. I don't know why it wouldn't be. I guess I'd need more information about that. When I join, how can I set up the bonus 30-minute strategy call? When you join, if you're one of those first 10 people, you will get an email with a coupon code and a link to my strategy call sign up page. And so that will happen automatically. So within the first, within a couple minutes after you join, you should get that email. If for some reason you don't, you can reach out to our support email, which is support@hawthornlaw.net. And I can make sure that you get that information. But that's how that'll work. And then what happens is you get a strategy, you get a coupon code, and that coupon code automatically expires in 60 days. So hopefully that makes sense. Alize says question mark, question mark, question mark. Hopefully you got that. Blanca says, amazing. Thank you. You're welcome, Blanca. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the program. Let's see, what other questions do people have? Any questions? It's getting late. 2 hours left. I'm nice, I think. I think some other people, they say, you've got until I get off and then it's over. I give you until midnight. So there you go. Ilan says, thank you, Jim. You're welcome, Ilan. I think we've reached that point. We're almost at 3 hours. We still have some people on, but yeah. I'm just looking to make sure I've answered all questions. I think I have. I'm getting a little hoarse. I am going to stop the recording now. Thank you so much to all of you for being on this training tonight. This has been a lot of fun for me. Again, here's and again, if for those of you that don't remember, Alize says I'm not 100% sure. That's fine. The appointments, it's $299 for a 30-minute call. Again, I'm not trying to talk people into this program if it's not right for them, but I just want you to appreciate the value for an additional, $700, I guess you get, which that $300 is going to go away after midnight tonight. But for an additional $700, you do get that call with me. You get the program, you get all the templates, you get the group coaching calls, which means you get access to me once a month for the next 12 months at least. And it's actually more than that because I also have a special guest lecture that comes on once a month as well. So there's a lot of access. I'm not going to try and talk people into the value if you don't obviously see it. I think a lot of you do see the value in that. And I am so excited to have you on. Thank you, Samantha. I appreciate you. So I'm going to hop off now. Have a great night, everyone. To those of you that will be joining later tonight, we've still got a couple spots left. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next time I do this training or on the group coaching call. Next group coaching call is going to be 2 weeks from tonight, by the way. So for those of you that join, you're going to be getting that information. It's going to be in 2 weeks. Blanca says, thank you. You're the best. I'm funny sometimes on your channel. Yeah, I try and be funny a little bit. Sometimes I'm better than others. Anyway, thanks, folks. Have a good night. We'll talk soon.